My name is Laura Hoffman, and I am a high school science teacher passionate about integrating real world activities and authentic assessments into my classroom to enhance student engagement and deepen learning. This video will outline key strategies for engaging students while creating cohesive, well structured learning experiences. Using sustainable city and golf course design projects as examples, it will present scaffolded instruction approaches that educators can adapt to their own classrooms. I teach AP Environmental Science and AP Chemistry, and I'm passionate about fostering student engagement through authentic, real world learning experiences. In my role as a department chair, I enjoy collaborating with fellow science educators, and as a county curriculum developer, I work with colleagues to design high quality instructional resources. I am deeply committed to all aspects of the science education and believe there is a critical need to create activities that are both engaging and meaningful. By exploring strategies and resources that promote student centered learning and address real world challenges, we can better prepare our students with the skills and experiences necessary to thrive in an increasingly competitive and interconnected world. Authentic learning fosters an environment in which students actively apply content, both for learning and as learning. Rather than presenting knowledge in isolated fragments, authentic learning weaves concepts into a cohesive, meaningful whole. Without this approach, instruction often resembles viewing a series of unrelated snapshots from a film, each image providing only a partial glimpse of the story. While individual snapshots hold their own value, only when they are connected does the full narrative emerge. In education, authentic learning functions in the same way, transforming disconnected pieces of information into an integrated understanding that students can apply in real context. Time constraints in classrooms often lead to overly abstract instruction. When learning is confined to theory without context, students struggle to see its relevance or application. Authentic learning addresses this by situating concepts into real world scenarios, therefore enhancing comprehension and retention. Research has also shown that authentic learning experiences can improve future job prospects by developing transformable skills such as problem solving, collaboration, and adaptivity. As students strengthen their ability to apply knowledge in practical situations, they become more marketable, capable of building strong professional relationships, and better equipped to navigate diverse career opportunities. For students to succeed, three essential steps should be completed before they begin the assessment. First, educators must know their students and identify their interests to ensure the assignment is relevant and meaningful. Relevance increases engagement, particularly for students at standard level courses, by connecting the task to the topic they care about. Second, educators must actively ask student questions. While questioning should occur throughout the assessment process, it is especially critical at the onset. Both scaffolded and open ended questions help gauge students' comfort level with the task, clarify misunderstandings, and prompt them to consider strategies for completion. Finally, educators must establish and communicate a clear purpose for the assignment. Students should understand why they are engaging in the activity, whether designing sustainable cities and golf courses or developing a lab procedure and data chart. This why is often overlooked, but is crucial for student focus and motivation. When learners recognize the purpose behind a task, they are more likely to invest effort and work intentionally towards successful outcomes. Authentic learning can take many forms beyond the typical real world application. Two additional powerful examples are interdisciplinary learning and sustained investigation. Interdisciplinary learning is particularly effective because it allows educators to tailor topics to student interest. For example, A student who may be less engaged by science might be deeply interested in economics. By connecting content across disciplines, interdisciplinary learning broadens engagement and appeals to a wider range of students, making learning more relevant and meaningful. Sustained investigations involve integrating multiple units, often 4 to 5, into a single comprehensive project. This approach not only deepens understanding, but also serves as a valuable classroom tool. Students who finish assignments early can dedicate time to the project, ensuring productive use of class time. Moreover, sustained investigations require students to develop a mental roadmap for completing the project, fostering essential skills such as time management and strategic planning to meet deadlines successfully. The most important recommendation is to scaffold high-level assignments so they can be adapted for use across multiple classes. This approach not only saves valuable preparation time, but it also increases flexibility in implementation. When students require materials, encourage them to reuse supplies from previous projects or items that they have at home, promoting equity and reducing resource barriers. Scaffolding also allows for differentiated pacing. Educators can select appropriate level of complexity each year based on available class time and student ability. For example, if a school event disrupts the usual schedule, teachers can easily substitute a simplified version of the assessment without compromising learning objectives. Lastly, timely grading is essential for maintaining momentum and providing meaningful feedback. Consider incorporating formative assessment methods, such as walking around the room to evaluate student work in progress or having groups present their products. For individual assignments, leveraging AI tools or well-developed rubrics can streamline the feedback and grading, ensuring efficiency without sacrificing quality. Two projects my AP Environmental Science students have completed include designing smart, sustainable cities and sustainable golf courses. To launch these projects, I began by posing guiding questions about essential sustainability features. Students then analyze images representing these features and discuss their meaning and significance. The pre-assessment questioning ensures students develop a clear understanding of the project's goals and expectations, helping to align their efforts early on and ultimately saving valuable class time during the activity. I have several examples of student-created sustainable city and golf course to share. We will begin by examining the full comprehensive version of the project, then discuss how to scaffold and adjust based on student need and available instructional time. In AP Environmental Science, this project serves as a culminating assessment in place of a traditional final exam. Students choose to design either a sustainable city or the sustainable golf course, allowing for personal reference and ownership of the project. Since they have already completed the AP College Board exam, this project is designed to integrate content from all units in a creative and applied context. Each group presents their project to me individually for two key reasons. First, this prevents students from borrowing ideas from other groups, ensuring originality. Second, individual presentations allow me to ask targeted questions that assess student understanding. Students are encouraged to conduct research, engage in conversation during their presentations, and I offer staggered groups to allow time for meaningful dialogue and feedback. The primary goal is for the student to apply their knowledge in a thoughtful, real-world context. Most importantly, grading must reflect accuracy and depth of student understanding. Participation alone is not an adequate measure. A rigorous, standards-aligned rubric ensures accountability and promotes higher-level thinking through the assessment process. These are the fundamental requirements for both the Sustainable City and Golf Course project. A key component of authentic learning is practicality. Students must design something that is feasible and grounded in real world application. While it's acceptable for a proposed solution to be imperfect or even failing during implementation, the product and project must remain realistic and accountable to be considered truly authentic. As a final exam replacement, students were expected to incorporate content from all course units. The only exception was for the golf course project, which did not require inclusion of the population unit. It is essential to clearly outline the expectations and required content from the beginning. Doing so will not only set a high academic standard, but also reduces time spent addressing logistical questions during class, allowing students to focus on deeper engagement and higher order thinking. I have two examples of smart, sustainable cities created by AP Environmental Science students. Given the level of the course, a high degree of detail was expected. One group delivered an impressive 1 hour presentation, and while the final product was visually compelling and well organized, it did not earn a perfect score. For instance, their placement of solar panels and green roofs demonstrated practical thinking, but weren't oriented towards the south to maximize efficiency. However, when I asked for clarification on certain aspects of the design, the group was unable to determine what changes were needed, even after a brief discussion among themselves. After the presentation, we discussed potential improvements, but the students did not earn the points they had missed. This outcome highlights an important teaching philosophy. Students must be held accountable for demonstrating understanding at the time of assessment. While it can be beneficial to give groups a moment to reflect and discuss possible revisions during their presentation, especially if time allows, it's crucial that they do not rely on the teacher to supply the answers. Authentic learning requires students to think critically and problem solve independently, especially in high level courses like AP Environmental Science. In this example, students attempted to incorporate too many features into their sustainable city. For instance, including both wind turbines and a dam may not be practical, especially in the context of a smart city, which is typically smaller in scale and more densely populated. The financial and environmental implications of constructing a dam, along with the noise pollution generated by wind turbines placed near the residential areas, raise questions about the feasibility of their choices. That said, it is essential to provide students with the opportunities to justify their design decisions. In a student teacher conference setting, for example, students might argue that their city is strategically located in a region where a dam is realistic, or propose that the dam is operated by a private company that pays to use the portion of the river within the city limits. They might also suggest negotiating lower energy rates as a benefit to residents, ideas that reflect deeper thinking and understanding of real world systems. These two examples reflect the level of depth that can be expected from high level students who have the time and support to research and develop complex projects. However, educators must also consider the demands on the class time, particularly if individual groups' presentations are part of the assessment. With that in mind, let's explore some time saving alternatives that still preserve the integrity of authentic learning. There are many time-saving strategies and tools available online that can support both teachers and students in completing project-based assessments more efficiently. AI tools, in particular, offer creative solutions that streamline the planning and implementation process while still meeting the needs of diverse learners. For example, one of my students' groups used pre-designed 3D building templates, originally suggested as a time-saving option to complete their sustainable city project. In this case, the students were less interested in artistic elements of the assignment and preferred a more structured, straightforward approach. The option allowed them to work more effectively while still meeting the project's requirements. Students who wanted to personalize their models further were encouraged to color or enhance them at home. Incorporating technology more broadly can also scaffold complex assignments and reduce the time needed for in-class construction or design. Digital tools such as city simulated software, interactive maps, or virtual design platforms can help students bring their ideas to life in a manageable and accessible way without sacrificing depth or creativity. In this example, students create a miniature sustainable city using a collaborative Google Slides template. Template included a green black background and multiple slides with pre-inserted clip art, which helped guide students through the design process. Because the project was completed in Google Slides, multiple group members were able to work on it simultaneously, promoting collaboration and efficiency. A few helpful tips for streamlining this type of digital project. When searching for images, include the word transparent in your search to avoid white backgrounds that can clutter the slide design and reduce visible appeal. To prevent students from continuing to edit the project after submission, have them download the file as a PDF before submitting it via email or uploading to your learning management system. Although students can also download their project as a PowerPoint file, not all devices have Microsoft Office, so PDF is the most universally accessible and secure format. This project focused on the design of sustainable golf course, and it's important to note that the student completed the project independently. For the final project, students had the option to work in groups of up to 3. However, this student was also completing a final welding project that required her to spend time in the space on site. To accommodate her unique schedule, she was permitted to use some class time to finish her welding assignment while completing the golf course project at home. This illustrates that offering students choice extends beyond project format or topic. It can also include flexible use of class time to meet students' individual needs without compromising academic expectations. During her presentation, we discussed the placement of solar panels, which she had designed to lay flat instead of facing south. The course was a walk-only golf course. She attempted to justify this decision by explaining that her golf course was both healthy and environmentally benefits. To extend this learning opportunity, I encouraged her to present her justification to 2 teachers on the hallway who are experienced golfers. This strategy served multiple purposes. She engaged in academic conversation with adults outside her typical group. She had an organized her argument and presented to knowledgeable individuals in the field. And she was held accountable for her design decisions, but was still given a chance to earn back points through authentic communication. Ultimately, both teachers disagreed with her rationale, and she did not receive full points for practicality. However, this exchange provided a meaningful learning experience, reinforcing the importance of real-world feedback and the value of critical thinking and communication. There are numerous ways to scaffold the sustainable golf course project, allowing differentiation in context, depth, pacing, and format. These adjustments can support a range of learners while presenting the core goals of assessment. Using sheet protectors or laminated templates is an effective strategy for saving time while promoting revisions based on peer or teacher feedback. These reusable materials allow students to map out and model their design without needing to start over. For example, the Sustainable City project can be simplified by laminating a green sheet of paper or inserting it into a sheet protector to serve as a reusable base. Students can draw and revise their plans using dry erase markers, incorporating feedback in real time. This approach not only reduces prep and cleanup, but it also supports formative assessment practices by allowing teachers to observe and guide student thinking throughout the design process. When using this format, it's important to develop a rubric that aligns with the time available and the learning standards. Even with simplified materials, and assessment should remain rigorous, clearly aligned to the course objectives, and ensure meaningful student learning. This example represents an electronic version of a single-hole sustainable golf course. To reduce technical issues and streamline the process, educators can create a Google Slide template with the background image already inserted. This prevents accidental shifting of the layout and allows students to focus on design elements. Teachers may choose to provide pre-selected clip art or allow students to research and insert their own visual elements, depending on the available time and the needs or abilities of the class. Offering this type of choice promotes student engagement while maintaining flexibility. As always, the selected format should align with instructional goals and ensure that the essential learning standards are met within the given time allowed. This activity involves a laminated image or one placed inside of a sheet protector, allowing students to write directly on it with dry erase markers. The task is designed to incorporate the claim, evidence, and reasoning framework, reinforcing students' ability to support their ideas with scientific justification. To ensure success, it is recommended that students complete at least one CER exercise prior to this activity. Finally, the simplified electronic version is well suited for peer-to-peer feedback activities. To enhance visual quality, the background image can be uploaded as a watermark in Google Docs with the faded option disabled. In this assignment, students move labeled text boxes A, B, C, and D to identify specific pros and cons, then compose completed sentences explaining their observations. To encourage collaboration, one partner can be responsible for positioning text boxes A and B, while the other writes their explanations. Then they switch the roles for box C and D. This structure promotes active engagement, clear communication, and equitable participation in analysis process. The strategies demonstrated through these examples can be adapted and applied to a wide variety of projects. Moving forward, consider the following steps to incorporate authentic learning into your existing curriculum. Modify an existing assignment to include authentic elements that connect content to students' real-world experiences. For example, transforming a traditional assignment into an interactive game like Pictionary using laminated materials can make the activity more engaging and creative while still addressing the same learning objectives. Leveraging AI tools to generate ideas and resources effectively. You can input standards or project descriptions into AI platforms to create new assignments or refine existing ones. For example, by providing a lab title and standards, I used ChatGPT to develop a forensics mystery lab tailored to high school students within minutes. Refining the prompts allowed me to customize the project until it met my criteria. AI can also provide students with personalized feedback based on uploaded project images or text. Aim high but start small. Seek out advanced project ideas to inspire your practice, but begin by adapting manageable components that fit your students' levels and your instructional context. When working with AI, be sure to specify your students' language, proficiency, and academic level to receive more appropriate outputs. Provide clear feedback to AI about what you want to change or improve, enabling it to generate increasingly refined and effective project ideas. I encourage you to share your own ideas and experiences in the comments section to foster a collaborative community of practice focused on authentic, student-centered learning.